Hey there, I'm Anthony Romano, and this video is very interesting because this one is about taking ketones when you're not on keto. So, hopefully, my clickbait thumbnail tactics have lured you in if you're not a keto person, okay? And otherwise, if you watch my videos, then great, thank you for being here. But if you're somebody who is completely new to this stuff and you're not interested in keto, but you've been intrigued by this video topic, taking ketones when you're not on keto is powerful, okay? It is a dramatic life hack for a lot of different things. And I've explained in other videos about the benefits of exogenous ketones, how they can improve the amount of oxygen in your blood, and your ability to get oxygen to your brain, okay? This is why people who do keto talk about how they can just go on endlessly for a day, and they don't need, to nap, they don't need to eat as much, they're not dependent on food. There's a lot of other benefits. Workout performance can increase, okay? There's a lot of benefits with this, just in and of themselves. However, this video is going to explain how to actually use them if you're not keto adapted in any way, and also the benefits that you actually will receive, because you will get enhanced fat loss, you will get better workout performance, and your body always benefits from having multiple fuel sources. So we'll get into this, and I'm just not going to preamble anymore. So, the starting premise of this video is your body does everything better when it has multiple fuel sources, okay? So the main problem with carbohydrate diets, which I'm not bashing all carb diets, but the main problem is that it basically makes your body more dependent on carbohydrates. It doesn't rule out the ability to use ketones or fat as fuel. It simply makes your body have a higher propensity to actually stay dependent on carbs and anticipate carbs, because human beings were not meant to have carbohydrates year round. Now, again, that's not a bash on all carb diets. There's a lot of shitty carb sources nowadays that are far more contaminated with hydrogenated oils and whatnot than our grandparents had, right? And the older generations had. However, carbs in and of themselves are not necessarily a problem. They're just a luxury fuel. That's what they are. They're a luxury fuel source that, in nature, only really grow half of the year. Think about it. What if you're in the Arctic tundra thousands of years ago? What carbs are available? There's none. There's no veggies. There's no potatoes. There's no fruits. There's no carb source available. And you certainly didn't have the ability to ship over mangoes from Mexico. And you certainly didn't have Snickers bars growing on trees. So carbs our metabolism is seasonal. Okay, just like everything in the world. Fall, summer, or winter, summer, night, day. Okay, everything is seasonal, and there's a time and place for carbs, and there's a time and place where you can benefit by restricting them. I'm not going to say that you have to restrict them, but you can certainly benefit by restricting them. And this is why part of my page's purpose is to introduce people to keto in any way, whether it's the ketones or something else, or fasting or a keto diet, because accessing the keto metabolism is a beneficial state that we would have been oscillating between, okay? We would have been oscillating between our two primary fuel sources, the yin and yang, the keto and the fat metabolism and the carb metabolism. So, most people have not done the keto metabolism. That's why fasting is kicking off, okay? That's why a lot of these other tactics that make your body tap into the keto metabolism are gaining so much popularity. But people don't really know that they are keto metabolism, but they are, because when you're not eating anything, you're not eating carbs. So this is why also there would have been plenty of fasting during the winter. And I'm going to draw this back to the ketones in a moment, so just sit tight with me here, okay? The main thing is carbs are a luxury fuel. They only grow half the year, further implicating their scarcity. And when you do have them, the reason they're a luxury fuel is because they're quick burning, and they also have a higher propensity to cause fat storage because of the effect they have on insulin. The moment you consume carbs, your blood sugar goes up, and insulin is the fat storage hormone. So in a prehistoric context, if you had carbohydrates, that's basically a guarantee that you're going to survive tomorrow, because your body has the ability to store them easier than it does for fat. And think about it. Fat on our bodies is a very high quantity fuel source. It's 9 calories a gram. It's slower burning, but essentially it is the body's preferred fuel source in that sense, because if you have the ability to store fat, you now have a supply of 9 calories in every gram of fat, in every gram of fat. So essentially, when you consume carbohydrates, you are guaranteeing that your body has enough fuel that it can store, possibly, for the next day, right? Meanwhile, if you had, some fat at the time, your body is going to use that, and it's not going to have as easy of a time storing it because of the insulinogenic effect of carbs compared to it. So, essentially, carbs are a luxury fuel source, and if you're coming from a carb metabolism, that's great. But once you add in ketones, first of all, be very careful adding in ketones if you've never used them before, because the MCTs or electrolytes that are in here commonly they can irritate your gut, especially if you're new to them, okay? They can make you basically have to shit yourself, so don't overdo it, okay? That's the preface here. But this is my favorite ketone supplement, Athletic Alliance. I have other ketone supplements linked down below. Only one's the highest quality because I only get clean products, and I only recommend clean products, and if I ever don't recommend a clean product, I'll be sure to tell you about it. But now let's get into actually using this on a carb diet and why it's so beneficial. So essentially, I even had a conversation with, Instagram conversation with Dominic D'Agostino, who is one of the best sources on ketogenic dieting as far as the scientific level goes. And this guy is just in a lab testing various ketone-related shit for years, okay? Especially because he was, I believe, a neuroscientist or something of some sort. So, conversation basically, primary benefits. Ketones, they'll reduce the amount of lactate you actually build up. So essentially, you can clear lactic acid faster. And if you know about lactic acid, it's the stuff that builds up when you start feeling fatigued. Okay? Basically, it's a way to sort of, prevent you from overexerting yourself. And it doesn't mean that you're going to overexert yourself, but for most people, that's a huge enhancement in a workout context because you get to push that extra little more. You have higher endurance muscularly. So, also, when it comes to oxygen, I have a video on how this stuff right here should basically be the #1 scientific discovery of 2020 because the ability to increase your VO2 max, basically the amount of oxygen you're able to uptake every day. So, in an exercise environment, VO2 max is one of the primary indicators of fitness. And if you can increase this with a supplement, you can hold your breath longer. You can run long distances with less fatigue. You can be working out in the gym or at home gym if you're watching this during 2020 quarantine, hashtag, then you will have far better workout performance because of your ability to use oxygen more efficiently. Oxygen is the most vital nutrient of human beings because if you don't breathe it in every 5 seconds, then you're dead. So you have a far greater ability to uptake oxygen, which is highly important, especially because it's a greater ability to provide oxygen for your brain. So by simply adding this in, you will have an edge, even if you want to stick to a carb diet, okay? Now, the other benefits of this is that this is probably the best appetite suppressant in the world because it's one of the few things that can actually influence your insulin sensitivity in the moment and also increase the amount of oxygen, like I said, to your body. So because of that, you basically have one of the most powerful appetite suppressants because your body is not in as much of a scenario of scarcity. This is a very powerful fuel that your brain can uptake very quickly. Ketones themselves are very easily usable for the brain. So compared to carbohydrates, which are also pretty easily usable, but they glycate. And essentially with ketones, you're not getting much of the downfalls because they're a smoother burning fuel. I have videos where I show the Krebs cycle and the ATP production, but basically this creates less cellular waste and fat, and keto metabolism produces less cellular waste than a carb diet does. So again, that's not to say carb diets are bad. It's simply that our bodies were made to oscillate between two metabolic states seasonally, okay? And a lot of us have lost touch with that. So one easy way to incorporate that is by throwing in a ketone supplement. And this is not a keto, supplement pitch. Like, these guys don't pay me to sell their product. I just like their product. And basically, it's just one example of a good ketone product. I have them listed because I've, gave some out to certain, long-term clients and stuff like that. But anyways, the point is, it's not like I'm just pitching you this product. I love this product. I've been doing keto bodybuilding for 8 years, and I've been bodybuilding longer than that. And I can tell you with, a lot of vigor that my keto bodybuilding years have always yielded better results because of the effects on your metabolism, okay? And I've been fat, I've been skinny, I've been everything, okay? And keto incorporation is the 20% of work that will produce an 80% result. I firmly believe that. And it doesn't matter if you're a vegetarian, it doesn't matter what it is. Simply cutting out sugar is a keto diet. Well, cutting out all carbs and all blood sugar spikes. So at the same time, you don't have to do all these approaches people are telling you where, just eat 30 pounds of lard and butter every day. You don't have to do that. You simply have to cut out the carbs, and from there, fill in your macros appropriately. But there's other nuances to that, keeping it clean, etc., not getting hydrogenated fats, processed fats, things like that. But essentially, this is the cheat code to hop into ketosis without actually having to do the diet. That's the main premise of this video. So even if you want to fast longer, if you like intermittent fasting, this stuff is the stuff you take when you want to experience less appetite, when you want to have more mental focus in an environment, in a fat loss diet. I've had people who do carb diets, and when it gets to a point where they inevitably have to start doing shitloads of cardio and drop their calories so low that they're starving, this stuff is the saving grace. So it's a very versatile item, but when it comes to actually using it, it's simply a matter of experimentation at this point. I just highly recommend, I highly recommend that you just get your hands on something like this from maybe one of the ones I have in the link below, or, go to a local supplement shop or something. And essentially, once you have your hands on a ketone supplement, you don't even need to have a very high dose. And I don't recommend high dose at first because it can upset your stomach, as I said before. So you don't even need a very high dose to experience the benefits. And I recommend starting off small, adding it in, and then even from there, you're basically tricking your body into thinking it produced these ketones and it's going to use them the same way. Now, granted, you are going to burn through these ketones before you start burning through your own production of ketones. That's what they're called, exogenous, not endogenous, your body's production of ketones. But the main point here is, if you use this before a workout, you'll experience a better workout, I guarantee you. Better pumps, more vascularity, because they're a vasodilator in certain ways. Another bit of conversation from other experts in the field. But essentially, you'll have better ability to adhere to a fat loss diet, better workout performance, even keeping a bulk in check without having to, if you get to that point in a bulk where you're just a slave to food and you're, hungry all the time, this can absolutely regulate things for you and make it easier to stick to a healthy balance of calorie surplus, for example. So either way, get your hands on this stuff. Your body is meant to be jumping back and forth between two metabolic states, and you've probably lost touch with one of them. This is the way to access that. And these are ketone salts. Now keep in mind, there are other products called ketone esters. They're far more expensive. They are more effective, but this is basically ketones attached to salts in order to lower their pH so you can consume them. So don't overdo salt in that way because you'll have to shit yourself. Not necessarily because of blood pressure issues. But either way, I highly recommend ketone supplements even if you're on a carb diet. And it's no better said than that, okay? So look into it, okay? Even if you're not interested in keto, and if you are interested in keto, they're a great resource as well. So that's it for this video. And, leave me some questions in the comments if it's anything relevant, and I would love to help you out. And also go to my website if you want to work together, look at my programs, my free guides, assuming I have everything up at this point, and also keto bodybuilding merchandise. Thank you very much. Anthony Romano, peace.